Hello everyone, welcome to another Intro to Elder Scrolls Legends video. Today's video we're going to be talking about the attributes and classes. And if you've been following the series, then you should already have a good general idea of at least what the different attributes and maybe some of the classes are called. But we're going to do this video we're going to do the attributes and classes in a series of short videos for easy reference later on. First we're going to go through each of the classes, that's 6, and then we'll be talking about each of the attributes, that's 6, and then we'll be talking about the classes, which will either be 1 or 2 videos. Alright, let's get started. Today, our class that we're going to be talking about is Strength. Strength is also known as Red. And the way that we're going to be doing this is I'm going to show 4 cards for each class. Cards that are, in my opinion, representative of how of the way that of what you can expect out of this color, out of this attribute. Now, of course, they're going to be in practice more varied than this. You know, of course, only taking 4 representative cards isn't going to be it's not going to give you the whole picture. But the idea behind this is to give you, as maybe a new or inexperienced player, an idea of what to expect from these classes. All right. So the cards that I've picked for Strength are Withered Hand Cultist, Orc Clan Captain, Skaven Pyromancer, and Belligerent Giant. So, we'll start here with Withered Hand Cultist and what it does, and then we'll move down, and so on and so forth. So, Withered Hand Cultist is part of a set of cards in Strength that set rules. While Withered Hand Cultist is on the board, all actions cost 2 more. There are a few other cards like this. Gladiator Arena is a support. At the start of each player's turn, deal 2 damage to that player. This will effectively sets a time limit on the match, right? False Incarnate, it's a new card. Your opponent can't gain health. Garnag Dark Adherent, Breakthrough, and players can't have more than 7 magicka. So there aren't a whole lot of these cards. There are a few more than what I have here, but these cards are fairly unique and individual in that you don't see a lot of rule-setting cards in Elder Scrolls Legends, but when you see them, they're generally in red, and that kind of hints toward how Strength it's not all about just hitting face and being aggro, which is how some people think of it, right? Now, speaking of which, though, our next set of cards is just cards that push damage. So, to this end, we have Steel Scimitar, Orc Clan Captain, Raiding Party, and Underworld Vigilante. Steel Scimitar is it's a 1-cost common item, and it gives +2/+2. This is included in a number of aggressive decks for the sole reason that for 1 cost you're getting +2/+2. It's just a matter of math. It allows you to put forth that damage or even make effective trades if you need to. Orc Clan Captain is the same. Other friendly creatures in this lane have +1/+0. Increases their attack. Raiding Party gives you 2 1/1 Nord Firebrands with charge. charged creatures, of course, can attack the turn that they're played. An Underworld Vigilante, charge, and summon all enemy creatures in this lane, lose cover. It's a very straightforward aspect of strength that it has these cards that just push damage through. Another aspect of strength, we have pings and area of effect actions or effects. Okay, so pings are, if you're unaware, they are when you deal a small amount of damage to a creature or perhaps the opponent. That's what Rapid Shot does, deal 1 damage to a creature. If it survives, draw a card. So this has some utility beyond just the fact that it does 1 damage. And there are certain synergies present in some of the classes that involve these pings. You see, in Archer, for example, you might ping something and then use a finish off effect to kill it. The pings generally come from the strength cards. Skaven Pyromancer, deal 1 damage to all other creatures in this lane. And then the logical step up from that is Cradle Crush Giant, deal 2 damage to all other creatures in this lane. And then finally, for our big giant area of effect, the Red Year, deal 10 damage to each creature. That's all creatures on the board. And finally, for our last set of strength cards, we have cards for board and value. Now this is going to show you how these categories aren't necessarily strict, okay? So for example, Earthbone Spinner, summon, silence another creature, then deal 1 damage to it. This has a ping effect in it, right? Deal 1 damage to it. However, it also has a silence effect. This can be used for a number of things. It can be used for pushing damage by silencing a guard, or it could be used for making favorable trades. It could be used for killing a warded creature. All number of very effective ways that this can be used. Unstoppable Rage. This clears the board right up, right? Vigilant Giant, Breakthrough Guard, it's an 8/8, and Summon, draw a card. This will usually give you some control over the lane that you play it in, and it draws you a card. Belligerent Giant, very valuable card. Breakthrough, summon, unsummon a creature in this lane, or destroy an enemy support. So this is a card that gives you a major swing in your direction. It can be used for stabilizing, or it can be used for pushing through that final bit of damage that you need for lethal. And yeah, so another thing that I want to say is that these cards are generally safe to craft as a new player. The Red Year, maybe not so much as some of the other ones, because it's a legendary unique. Some of these come from some of the expansions or packs that you have to buy. But yeah, so that is strength, and I do want to reiterate that these categories are not exclusive, and that there's more even to these attributes than just what we're talking about here. But so, to summarize, strength is often an attribute for aggressive decks. You see it in Crusader, right? You see it in Plalu, which is currently a very good aggro to mid-range deck. But it's not just that, you know. You can see it in Archer lists, for example, for a control deck. And there are cards that are going to work towards that in a number of ways, and they can in fact work towards that at the same time. Cards that push damage and cards for board presence and for value, those can both be used for aggro. Cards that set rules, cards that cards with ping effects, these can be used to control, or even these cards that set rules can be used to prevent your opponent from stabilizing against your aggro plan. Actions cost 2 more that can prevent your opponent from using an Ice Storm to clear your board. Your opponent can't gain health. That means that you don't need to worry about those drain creatures, right? Alright, so that is it for strength. And our next video is going to be intelligence.